Today on Homeworthy, we're bringing you inside 3 beautiful homes across the nation's heartland. A colorful, collected home in Indiana, a classic Michigan Tudor with vintage decor, and a charming DIY home in Minnesota. They say the Midwest is flyover country, but step into these homes and you'll quickly realize it's the kind of place you'd never want to leave. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Well, hello, Homeworthy. I'm Coco Cuffy, and welcome to my home. Welcome to my entryway, where all the magic is at the beginning of the home. This is where when you walk in, I want you to feel the whole wow factor, and I want you to feel like you know you are in the right place. I love the lady on the wall. The art is called Portrait. I got this from Our House Furniture. And in the evenings, I'll turn on my art lamp, and she just exudes beauty. And then with the zebra wallpaper and the bright yellow, I thought that would just add a pop of sunshine, because I also decided to paint the ceiling black. So sometimes this space can feel a little dark, but with all the lighting and things like that, it makes it still feel grand. My mask, this guy has a whole smile on his face, and I absolutely love him because he smiles at you every morning, and he smiles at you when you come home in the evening. And I just think, you know, what a way to walk into your home or exit your home with someone giving you a nice smile. Also in my entryway, I have the bone inlay chairs that were also a find from work, and they are one-of-a-kind pieces. They're sisters, not twins, just based on the fact that they're handcrafted and very, very unique. Also, the greenery in the entryway, the large scale mirror, got a little bump and bruise, but it's still serving its purpose. I absolutely love the grandiose of the mirror. And then my zebra print that also embodies the zebras on the wall. So greenery and textured vase that also brings in more color, and a nice fun runner. And this is my entryway. We have been in the home since January 2024. And what sold me on this space was the fact that when you came in the front door, there was a sense of peace and calming. And what I loved about the flow of the home, it's not just a normal ranch, because from the outside, it looks like it is a very small home, but to have over 2,700 square feet and 3 full bathrooms and a family area and your sleeping area separated allows you to still be able to move about the home and have great function. So I just fell in love with the space, and when we walked in, we knew automatically this is the one. So join me in my living room, where texture, color, and elements are above and beyond. So in my living room, I love the Afro chic theme of the textured sofa, the wood elements on the chair, the play of color with the pillows, and still working in the vein of mask, but having the bust, and then a light fixture that is also a bust of a man with a brass shade on top as well. And my rice goddess in the corner that is praying and keeping the place at peace. This room also embodies all my coffee table books, and this bust here, I absolutely love her, but I've given her some additions to her being more fabulous than she is by giving her glasses and her beads. And then also my drum and Buddhas. And then I also even have a drum that's hanging on the wall. So I just love collecting things that I find when I'm out antiquing and vintage shopping. I love a good flea market. And so you find things that, you know, make a nice statement to have a flow. These little guys are candles. Like, it's a whole elephant. How cool is that guy? And then another one, a whole candle. Who knew? So I would be remiss if I did not have a Chanel book for a coffee table book. I have my iconic home and also the Afro chic and hashtag goals. So stay tuned for a off the cuff coffee table book that will show you steps and stages of the transformation of my home, because this was a blank canvas, and I walked in and knew that this house was ready for color and texture. So David Ballum is an African artist that we also sell at our house, and I fell in love with his artistry. He is all things as far as just capturing the elements of the African genre. And I just think it is just simply gorgeous based on all the jewelry that the lady is wearing, hence Coco. So some other pieces in the room are my green thumb trying to flourish and keeping things alive is where I reside right now because I'm not growing hair anymore. So let's grow plants. So different little statues and fixtures I absolutely love. And then another aspect of mask. And these guys were gifted to me. Never thought I would ever use them. But then all of a sudden they have a home. So just embodying all the things that I love in one space, but still keeping it seamless to where it's not overkill or looking as if I'm trying too hard. I just love to make things have a nice home. So working at our house was a challenge for myself because I was a hairstylist for over 30 years, and to be able to transition into a new love of all things decor. Our house to me was the catapult that gave me the confidence that I can do this. So going there, their aesthetic is more clean lines and neutrals and things like that. But it also still showed me that with those foundational pieces, I could still be who I am. So like I said, this sofa is our house piece, but to add the fabric on it that just exudes all the things that I love as far as texture and play on color and things like that. This is the element in the lane that I'm in. Being able to use my platform on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to show that, you know, it's a gift to be able to share the things that I learn and I just get a whole rush out of just decorating and being able to make changes on things around my home. So my wine bar can be a little deceiving. One would think it might just be a cabinet, but the beauty of it is these doors open up to where you can keep your wine glasses and your bottles of wine. It has all the cubby holes in, so you can just slide your wine bottles in. And I just think it's very, very unique. This is also another play on the bone inlay. This piece is very, very heavy. So it's not just a fly by night, slide it here, slide it there. It has to have a home. And I thought it would be a really good anchor for being in front of the window. And with this space not having a TV, this is where we just kind of come and sit, have conversation, and just kind of let our hair down and just relax in this space. Along with having the different mud cloths on the pillows and adding different textures, because this is almost like a jute fabric, but very, very unique. The throw blanket, I kind of just felt like I wanted something very African inspired. And then when I got real close to it, those look like seas. How cool is that? So everything just kind of will manifest and come into its own, but you got to step out there and just give yourself the grace and the permission to just go for it. It can be changed. It's paint. If you don't like it, paint it another color, and just keep embracing it, because it is a marathon, not a sprint. Welcome to my dining room, where I have a lot of visual stimulation, but calmness at the same time. So I have a vintage chair that is an heirloom in my family, where all my aunts had one, and it was 4 of them. So they split up the set and they shared them. And so my favorite aunt passed away, and she gave me her chair. And so every home that I've had, this chair travels with me. I've even taken it to the salon as decor to just sit in a little corner, but you better not sit on it. It is for show, and it is tradition, and I absolutely love this chair. This guy here on the wall, I found him at an antique store on the south side, and I left him in all of his rustic glory, because I feel like there is a story behind the fact that he has looked traveled. So sticks and vases. This little guy here is also another version of a mask, and you don't always have to hang them on the wall, because this guy also could sit on the floor, but I decided to put him on the wall. And my sconces are a work in progress right now, because I added the piping to cover the cords. So once I get that paintbrush back out, I'm going to melt that color to match the wall color. But these are also a find from our house, and they are exquisite and very heavy, so they have to be mounted the correct way. Also, there is this wonderful piece of art that says thanks and praises, and it's women dancing and just rejoicing and being happy, and that I love to exemplify in the dining space. But the unique thing about this is I got it at Thrifty Threads, and it was $7. And once I got home, I Googled, and this guy is starting at like $3.50. So score. Okay. This dude here, yes, and all this hair glory was gifted to me because if you speak things, things will come to fruition. So I'm at work, minding my business. I'm talking about my love of mask. And my coworker said, "Oh, mask? You like mask?" I was like, "Yeah, you know that I like mask." And she says, well, I've got a friend of mine that wants to get rid of some masks because she's changing her aesthetic. And I was like, what? And an hour later, the lady shows up and she opens her trunk, and there are all these masks from travels that she had gone on. And she says to me, Coco, as long as you don't sell them, you can have them. What? Who does that? This was one of the guys that was gifted to me, and it was a blessing because I just did not know where I was going to find all the unique masks that I wanted for my space. But lo and behold, spoke it and they came about. Dining table setting. A lot of people do not set their tables anymore. I don't know why, because I enjoy setting the table. I think it just adds character to your dining space. And to be able to dress the table as if you would dress yourself, you know. So putting on your foundation, once again, you have to adorn it with things that look pleasing. So I've got the napkin rings that kind of do more of an Asian inspiration, but when you're playing with color, all those kind of things kind of melt together, and it's fine. If you like it, it works. This guy was an our house find, and I went to the hardware store and found the embellishment for the ceiling and was able to spray paint it and match it to this guy so it still looks as aged as the light fixture, but it is a new piece. This lady here is a gift from a family member that knew that I had started my collecting of all things African inspired. And so I received that, and I think she's perfect there to kind of just watch over the place. Also, I have a giant mirror on the wall that is brass, and you can never have too much lighting. So a corner lamp, as well as the large round mirror that kind of looks like a sunburst in a sense. And the nice corner here, we have another antique find. This chair I actually found at a Goodwill, and I just polished it up and kept it going and added some cushions and pillows and texture once again. These guys here are from thrifting. They look like they've been around for quite some time because they're shadow boxed. So very unique. This piece was framed by me. I found the frame from the Goodwill and opened up the back and put this lady on the inside of it. And I thought that that was a nice touch for that to be a nice element on the wall. This space is kind of more like a pass-through. We have not been able to have a dinner party in here as of yet because the parties that we have had since we've moved in January are in the family room, or everybody's standing around in the kitchen. So the kitchen is the heart of the home, and I don't care how elaborate I decorate a space, everyone gravitates to the kitchen. Welcome to the heart of the home. This is my kitchen. I am still working on some things in the kitchen, but the biggest thing in here that sold me was the wonderful fireplace. It needed a little love, so I just decided to paint the mantle, but futuristically I will add some tile to the hearth of the fireplace. But with this, these paintings here were my dad's. He was a collector of trains, Lionel trains, and found these in the basement at my mom's house. And I thought, oh my goodness, these are all of everything, because they speak to me based on the love that I have for my dad. But then after I laid them on the fireplace, I looked at them really good and I thought, one looks like me and one looks like my husband, and we are the locomotives that run this house. So I just love the artwork and the fact that I can still bring some love in from my dad. The fireplace was the perfect place to put him there. This 9-piece antique mirror situation here is the branches of a tree that connect. This was a little challenging to hang. And although they are not perfect, they are perfect. So I stuck with it, and that's where they are. And I absolutely love them on the dark wall. And it was what this wall needed, was this pop of the antique mirror, along with bench seating and this chair and a half next to the fireplace is a nice little cozy spot to have a seat. And I've got bar stools that are in the Krypton fabric, which means easy to clean. And their coloring of the legs is a new color. Most bar stools have the black or the light color, but this is like a cinder color, which I thought would be a very good color to add some warmth into the kitchen. The islands when I bought the house were sky blue, and there was no way I was going to be able to incorporate sky blue into the aesthetic of this home. So temporarily, I found a paint that would go over countertops. And so I got busy, and it's actually a dark green. In some lights, it looks black, but it is a temporary fix for me for now, with the goal to turn this into probably a quartz or granite countertop, and then adding a range hood from the ceiling, or one that comes up from the back of the stove. We will see. Stay tuned for that. So, but yes, to sit here at the island while I cook, because I do love to cook, and I've got a couple dishes that people just request, because not only is Coco a home decor person, I can comb your hair, I can cook for you, I can dress you, all of those things, but it starts in the kitchen. So let's feed you and get you happy. Also in the kitchen, we have our bar area, and I'm going to cut these out and add glass so you'll be able to see the wonderful spirits that are in there. And then on this side, we'll do the same thing. And then, lo and behold, here are some more masks on the wall here. And then my cookbook, my Lazy Susan for my spices. And I like to go and get my fresh flowers for the week and do floral arrangements throughout the home, just to add some more freshness to the decor. And my backsplash was something that was added as well, to give more texture into the home. And the sink we dropped in and did as well. So just working on some things, but it's nice and cozy. And I added lighting that were originally just some can lights there. So I dropped those down, and then also hanging my cutting boards on the wall just to add another element. Very intentional design for having people feel welcome into the kitchen. I'm not a fan of the stark white kitchens just because it doesn't give the feel of being able to just come in and hang out. So I love the fact that when we're entertaining, I usually have to kick people out of the kitchen in order to get them to where they need to go and relax and eat and things like that. But I do love the fact that everybody wants to be in the kitchen. So the family room, when I purchased the home, did not have these doors. These doors were sitting in the garage, and I thought, what do they go to? And then it hit me. They go to the entryway of the family room. So I love the fact that they are see-through, where you can still close off the kitchen portion and then still have a sense of privacy in the family room, just in case you are having an event and they're a little loud and you don't want to have that in the kitchen area. So join me into the family room, where I have a nice sectional seating that is a white sofa that most people are scared of. But when you purchase Krypton fabric, you have a life. It's water, clear detergent, and everything goes away. This sofa has experienced red wine, thanks to my husband, and there is no evidence that it was there, and he is still alive. This is a rocker swivel. That is the chair that everyone fights over when they come into this space, because this chair is a little slice of heaven, because it is very calming to sit. I also have another antique find. This chair here is a work in progress as well. I got this chair for all of $25, and I could not believe the tag that was on it. So my goal is to reupholster the seat cushion and add the fabric that is also the fabric that's on my sofa in the living room. Family photos and art TV, just to add another element of artwork without the commitment of art. Family photos on the wall as well, with a pop of mask. And these were the old school ceiling fans when we first purchased the home. And I was able to modernize these guys with this caged ceiling fan option. And they really brought the space to life. Even though the ceilings are a little lower in here, it doesn't feel like you are crammed into one space. Also, this room is another space for dining. So whereas we have the formal dining room, this is also a place where you can eat and just kind of not worry about spills and decor and things like that. So it's more open and spacious. I have one of my custom pieces that my upholstery lady has so fittingly done for me over the years. She took my vision and made it come to life, where we have the mink seat cushion and the leopard here. And then on the back of this guy is leather. So this chair is really doing the most, but I love it. And more lighting. We have, this is a light fixture that came from our house as well, but I was not crazy about the glass globe because it meant cleaning. So I visited a local box store, and I was able to purchase this and added it to the light fixture, and it transitioned the light to a whole new life. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So once again, seating is not an issue in this space because this is where the family entertains. So we've got the pub table with 4 counter height chairs that are leather. And then family photos in that corner as well. So this room is definitely a space where you can just fall back and let your hair down. So the ability to layer is, I guess, almost a gift because I do it without even thinking. But the one thing that I do love about layering, you can take away and you can add to. Having things that are cohesive allow you to move them throughout your home and reuse things. So sometimes being able to shop your own space by just refreshing and moving something to a new home makes your house continuously feel warm and fuzzy. shall I say. So also this mirror here weighs probably about 200 pounds. It is a whole human being. And it took several human beings to put it on the wall, but I just love the woodwork that's on it. And it is a great statement piece that actually is a good marriage with the pub table as far as the wood that is in the center of that guy. And then I have a storage ottoman that keeps extra blankets and pillows and things like that. And then the play on layering, once again, I have a hide rug under the table that also adds more texture to the room. So I also have a wood burning stove that was original to this space being added, because I'm almost sure that this was an addition to the home, but it also gave the house more square footage. We have not yet used this guy, but looking forward to it this winter coming up for the holidays, and being able to put a nice, beautiful Christmas tree here on the side and just kind of look at the snow outside with all the windows that embody the whole back side of the house. Follow me to our primary bedroom where I was told that the room looks yummy. Let's see what your thoughts are. So welcome to my primary bedroom, where once again, I am not scared of color. This color is by Sherman Williams, and it is called Frambosa. And I saw the color and thought, yeah, I'm going to go for it. The purple chair and a halves were designed by my upholstery lady, and she and I have been rocking since 2006. We met on a humble because someone that was supposed to do some work for me ran off with my fabric, and the ladies at the fabric store gave me Spring's name, and every place I've been has a little sprinkle of spring in it. And these chair and a halves, I almost reached out to her to have her redo them when we got the home. And I'm like, wait a minute, purple is such a dominant color and a royal color. I'm not changing these chairs. I'm going to leave them in their purple passion and build off of it. And I love a good jewel tone combination. So to do the color melting with the purple drapes and then adding the pop of color on the pillows just really makes this room feel nice and cozy for me and my hubby. And we absolutely enjoy the journey that is going on throughout the home. So this bed is a new design that has more of a curved than square headboard. And then the art on the wall, bringing in more flowers, was something that just warmed me up. And my cheetah lamps with the velvet lampshades, I thought were the perfect touch to add with the filigree on the chair and a halves. And my horse head in the corner on a whole column that is just there. Once again, another spring find. And adding some lighting on the wall, once again, to create total mood. So sometimes this room will accompany me and one of my good girlfriends, and we'll just sit and have cocktails and talk. So I just love the space, but it is still a work in progress, but we're getting there. The art that is hanging here was given to me by my cousin, and she knows my love of art. And when she gifted me this, I mean, it really brought tears to my eyes. And I thought, this lady needs her own moment. So I thought, let's just hang her from the ceiling to just give her this whole ambiance of, I guess, in a sense, being the gatekeeper of the room. Her hair wrap is out of like a tissue paper that is raised from the art. And the drapes that I chose underneath, I thought would be a play on looking as if she had her gown or dress that flowed down from the art. And then the lighting behind her in the evening illuminates her, and it's just breathtaking to just have this whole little corner here that does its own thing. So she just kind of prays over us at night in a sense because her eyes are closed, and I think she is all of amazing. The inspiration behind the paint color was I wanted something that would be moody but not too girly, in the sense to still make my husband feel like this is his room as well. But when you talk purple and mulberry and berry colors and things like that, they exude warmth. So I just thought that this color would be a good play on the space. And then the fact that I had these two big giant black abstract art that almost take up the whole wall. So it kind of gives a good balance to, it's not so in your face when you walk into the room. But the room, like I said, was described yummy. So this is where it came from. So my bathroom has been a functional situation for me because most people's bathroom just kind of, have all these clean lines and things like that. But I like to see my things. I love jewelry. I love earrings. I love art. So my bathroom still has a play on all of that. So check yes for all the above. The lady that I have in my bathroom, when I saw her, I thought, yeah, after a long day of work and working in retail, it's like, this is how you sometimes feel. Not that you actually do this, but when I saw her, I thought, this is what makes the end of the day like, yeah, woosah. But she's just super cool. And it's just a aha laugh moment. And then to find a pillow that says, please take a seat. Like, how perfect are those two together? And what was so crazy is I saw the pillow and I thought, well, where would you put that? And then it hit me, under the lady in the bathroom is where this pillow needs to go. And it's a perfect marriage. And then to hang some hot fuchsia drapes instead of shower curtains is just fitting for the lady in the bathroom. Yeah, that's how the bathroom came about. So right outside my bedroom, I just wanted to show you really quick. Repurposing canvas is a whole lot of fun. So don't sleep on artwork that you're over. Don't throw it away. Don't take it to the Goodwill. Just go and get some more paint and make it happen. So I was out one night after work and decided to redo this art. And I just started making straight lines. And then next thing you know, they turned into women. And I named them the Divas. So they're like Natalie Cole, Patti LaBelle, Dinah Ross. And so I thought that this was perfect. They have earrings and lipstick and all different hairstyles. And it was just a lot of fun having a glass of wine and painting with my girl. And we had a good time. So don't sleep on repurposing your canvases. So my outdoor is a work in progress at this moment, but staple pieces are in place. So we have a new 84-inch sofa with a swivel chair and my solar stove, an accent chair, and once again, Green Thumb is trying to make it happen, along with the pops of color there and here. So we can come out and sit and have our coffee and a little breakfast outside, listen to nature. And the goal is to reface the concrete, add a rug, and I've got a glow in the dark cornhole that is going to go out into the yard. So this is where the fun is going to happen, along with a giant screen to watch movies and lay up on the sofa and take it all in. To me, what makes a house a home is your family, the things that you love, and the history of being able to make memories in your home. Watch movies.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Vanessa. Welcome to my home in Michigan. I can't wait to show you around.
Hi, I'm Allison Kenworthy, the founder of Homeworthy, and we're now offering a membership plan that gives our supporters early and exclusive access to new videos.
Hi, Homeworthy.
I'm Roz.
You're here at my home in Los Angeles?
Come on in. I can't wait to show you around.
With this membership, we invite you to open more doors, discovering new homes, rooms, and personalities available only to those with the keys to our guest house. You'll be part of a community of people who are just as passionate as you are about interior design. To access all of this exclusive content, simply click the Join button below to become a member today. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Gratz, and we are here in my 1926 registered historic Tudor on Groseal, Michigan. My husband and I have historically moved a lot for our careers. His old job actually brought us to different parts of Texas and different parts of California over the last 7 years. Fairly recently, he though found a new career and put us both in remote career positions. So for the first time ever, or at least since we've been together, we had full control over where we lived. And one night, drinking a little bit of wine on the sofa, we were scrolling Trulia just for fun, just to see what real estate was out there, because we love looking at real estate, love seeing what's out in the market. And we happened upon this absolutely beautiful 1926 Tudor on a little island in Michigan. And as fate would have it, we were already scheduled to come into town about a week later, as this is where my husband's family is from. And we were coming into town for a wedding and decided, let's just go look at it. Let's just see what it's about, just for fun. Nothing serious. We were living in Dallas, Texas. We owned a home. We'd only been there for 2 years. And the minute we walked into this house, it sold us. We knew it, the charm, the creaky floors, everything about it just gave us chills, and we put an offer the next day. So when you first walk into the house, you can kind of get a good visual of everything. What I love and what we did very strategically is we placed this vintage piano here. This is honestly one of my favorite secondhand finds. I got this for free at an estate sale. It didn't sell, and so they just wanted to offload it. And I took lessons as a kid. I am now taking lessons via YouTube and slowly but surely learning. But I just think it's so beautiful here. And honestly, the wall space was so perfect for it. And I love that it's just an awesome place to display art. Again, secondhand finds, and it's a nice little welcome into the house. It's really funny when we host people will usually sit down and play around on it. And so we're gonna go into the living room from here. Living room is really the heart of the home and one of my favorite spaces in this house. I really wanted this space to feel cozy and warm, and I wanted it to be the landing hub for when everyone came in and we gathered. So we collected, just in my opinion, beautiful pieces. I have a very clear color palette. You'll notice as you go through the house, I'm a huge fan of green. It is a neutral for me. And I do a lot of brass, a lot of woods. I like to mix textures and different textiles and things of that sort. And then as you come this way, you'll see one of my favorite projects, which is our gallery wall. Gallery wall is something I've had in every single home that we have lived in. This is probably my favorite though. Everything here is either from a local artist, someone I connected with online, or something I found at a thrift store or an estate sale. I just really love collecting beautiful pieces and pairing it with, again, something new and old. So this is definitely a very proud portion of the house for me. So when it comes to gallery wall creation, I actually like a little bit of chaos. I do very little planning with gallery walls. I'll typically figure out what my centerpiece is and maybe a couple surrounding pieces. You'll likely find me laying them out just on the floor, getting a bird's eye view, stepping on top of the furniture to get an idea of what it would look like. But for the most part, I like to just play around with it. I like it to be very organic, and I honestly change it very often. If you were to take all of these frames down, there's probably 100 holes in the wall from me moving things around, trial and error. But honestly, that's what I love about interior decorating. It's the trial and error. It's figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. And this is probably not going to be the last rendition. There's going to be some changes, but I just love the flexibility and the fluidness of just throwing some art on the wall and seeing how it looks. These are pine cone candle holders. I got these at a Goodwill this last holiday season. They're metal and they were just so unique and fun. We are surrounded by pine trees, a lot of evergreens on our property, and it just felt right. Even though they were technically holiday decor, they feel like year-round decor in our house. So fun fact, historically, I was never a fan of built-in shelving. It felt like I was forced to put things on the walls, and I never loved that. However, we walked into this house and they had 2 symmetrical bookshelves on either side of the living room. And these were actually additions. They're not original to the home. I'm not quite sure what year they were put in, but they were just so perfectly placed. And I just felt really inspired to use these as just like the canvas for all of the things I've collected, for all of the special things that are either from my family or my husband's or just we found during our travels. So you'll find a collection of a little bit of everything. I've got candles and books and art and antiques. We actually have a really special little memento here. This is a ceramic and brass owl that my grandmother gave me. She is originally from England, but lives in Australia now. And I specifically asked her when we moved into this house, hey, is there anything that you can give me that's yours, that's special to you, that I can have in this house of you? And so this little item is really cute and it opens up, so it's a little treasure trove. But that's what these bookshelves are filled with. They're filled with just special items from, again, everywhere. Over here, again, I love books. Books as decor is one of my favorite things. It's such a good filler. And I specifically love to find books that are really old. If I can find them with inscriptions, that's even better. I actually even have a photo. This is a photo of Caleb Diedrichson. He was the original owner of this house in 1926. So him and his family lived here for several years. And I looked high and low on the internet to find a portrait of him because I felt like it was really special that we paid homage to the original people that designed this house and lived here and created memories. So something about me is I love a deal, and I do love secondhand anything. I'm a huge Facebook Marketplace shopper. This mirror is probably my proudest find. We found this just a couple hours away from us here in Michigan, and we had no idea how large it was when we picked it up. You know, they give you dimensions for these things, but we showed up and this was just the most beautiful, giant antique mirror. I was so excited. I paid $70 for this, and it is honestly my prized possession. If the house is on fire and I could only take one thing, it would be me trying to lug this out of this house. So the chess set here is actually because I have a goal of learning to play chess. I grew up with my dad and my brother, always playing into the wee hours of the night, and I never truly understood it. Josh knows how to play, so my 10-year plan is that he'll eventually teach me. I'll eventually have the patience for him to teach me. So it's here in case anyone comes into the house and plays, or if I get motivated one day. When we moved in, this house was in pretty much immaculate shape. The previous owners and their family had been here for over 40 years. And actually part of the selling point is that they had put in over $200,000 worth of renovation in that 40 years. They completely replaced the windows. They did a full kitchen refresh. They added in a shower upstairs. So things that this old home just needed to be updated over time. So we were in a great scenario where we were able to come in and truly just put our stamp on it with decor. We definitely have plans longer term for some smaller changes, but honestly, this house was ready for us. So the fireplace was one of the very first selling points of this house. This house has so many selling points personally, but this is the original plaster fireplace to the home. We actually have the original kind of mock-up and build of the house, and it showcases the fireplace, and it's just absolutely stunning. The detail in this wet plaster work is incredible. There's actually a crest here. It's kind of faded out, but I don't know for sure. My hope is that maybe that crest is from the original family. I hope it has a special meaning to that. Since I don't know, I'm going to claim that this is a special crest, but this fireplace is truly just a work of art, and it's one of the first things that everyone talks about when they come into the house. And it's wood burning, although we actually transitioned it to gas as well, so we can do both in the pinch, and it's just one of my favorite pieces. And we put up the frame TV here. Actually, this was a bit of a strong discussion between my husband and I when we identified this home and that we were going to purchase it. I told him there was absolutely no way we were putting an ugly black TV on this mantle. It was either going to be art or it was going to be nothing. And so the frame TV was actually a great middle ground for us. I can change the art to whatever I want, and it looks like a painting. And it's also one of the things that people walk in and say, oh, I love that piece of art. And it's always so fun to let them know it's just a TV. So this is a brass firebox. Fun fact, when we moved in, there was one almost identical to this. It was the previous owners, and I begged them to sell it to me. They said no, though. It was a family heirloom, so I totally understood, but I was absolutely inspired by what they had here, and it was filled with firewood, and I thought it was so beautiful. So I went online, and I found a secondhand one and had it shipped to me, and I just absolutely love it. We don't actually fill it with wood. It's just filled with random things that I need throughout the house, but it's a great hiding place for kind of your junk, but it's absolutely stunning. It's vintage, and I absolutely adore it. I mentioned that I love everything equestrian and just Western, and it's adorned with horses, so it felt really right for us and for our home. So something about me is I will find a way to make anything art and or decor. These are the original blueprints to the house. So something really special about this space is we are the 5th owner of this home, but every homeowner has passed down the original deed and the original blueprint. So I think it's so special that everyone thought it was worth it to keep these in good condition. They were just in a plastic bag when we took the keys to the house, and I thought, why not make a bouquet of it in the home? And so every once in a while we'll pull these out and show them to friends or family, but I thought it was just a fun decor piece. Again, I love anything that you can repurpose. I love giving new life to items that maybe were just stuck in a basement prior. And so something like this is really special to me, and it's definitely a talking point for sure. Another talking point actually is my art right over here. I, for some reason, have an affinity for finding art of people I don't know. I find it fun, it's interesting. I like to jokingly give these people names. And I found this piece actually while on a work trip in Louisiana, and I found him at an antique store, and he's just so fun. I call him the radiator art because, well, what else are you gonna put on top of a radiator other than a great piece of art? And so I call him George. Don't know if that's his real name, but he's special to us. The frame is absolutely stunning. And I'm just drawn to beautiful things, and I'll find any place to put them. One of my firm beliefs is being able to mix new and old. So my house is full of antiques. It's full of vintage decor and items, but a lot of my furniture is actually brand new. And so in this case, we were able to combine, a secondhand vintage stunning rug with newer furniture. These green chairs are from West Elm. They are a crowd favorite. They're the perfect shade of green. And because green is a neutral to me, I thought, why not have green furniture in my home? And the velvet is so much fun. And I do love just mixing those different textures. And then I added in white blue clay swivel chairs, which we love because with this being a TV, it's easy for someone to just swivel, whether they're in conversation or we're watching a game or something together. I got a lot of questions when asked why am I going to put white in my home. We have a lot of family members with kids. We have a dog, but thankfully nothing insane has happened. They've been protected, and we love it here. It's just, again, like I like mixing new and old. I like the fact that this furniture feels a little mid-century modern, but everything around it feels very classic. It feels traditional. It feels English country. It feels like a Tudor, but it still meshes really well together. And that's why I am such a believer that you can do whatever you want in your house. If it makes sense for you and it feels good to you, go for it. A few other really special items in this room and that go throughout the house as well are these original wood floors. They creak, they are definitely not quiet at all, but something about that is just so charming. They also kind of wave. There's a little bit of movement here, but again, with an old home, kind of the beauty of it is the imperfections, and those imperfections make me feel that I don't have to be perfect in any way, shape, or form as well. So the original wood floors were something that we absolutely fell in love with immediately, and then additionally, the crown molding. So all of these walls, you'll notice, have a really thick texture. So it's all wet plaster, and the same for the crown molding. And the crown molding goes throughout most of the bottom floor of the house, and something that's just really special to us and immediately draws your eye. And I'm just so, so grateful we get to live here. I like to describe my design style as kind of a cluster of things. I don't feel like our home is just one style. I very much leaned mid-century modern in our last house, and so we still have a lot of those pieces here, and I still find a lot of inspiration from mid-century, but we're in an English style Tudor, and I thoroughly believe in letting a house lead you as far as your design and what you put into it. So although I had some mid-century modern aspects, I started incorporating a lot more traditional, a lot more English country, a little bit of French modern because I just love the way that looks. Also some Western. I am very drawn to equestrian for a couple different reasons. One, I grew up with a horse, and so that's part of my childhood. But two, my mom is actually from England, and so a lot of her personal style comes with me as well. So it's definitely a mix. So when someone asks me that, I give them the full list of things they will find in my home. There are so many things I love about this house. I have a mile-long list. However, I would say my top two, the original plaster fireplace that's behind me, this was an instant selling point. You see it the minute you walk into the house, and it is so intricate and unique, and we just absolutely fell in love. I love a fire. It is so cozy and warm, and I just love any scenario where you can just feel you're most comfortable at home. But I would say second is our sunroom, and it's such a unique space. This was actually an addition to the house in the 50s. It is a fully temperature controlled room with indoor and in-ground garden beds, meaning I can grow fruits, vegetables, or just tropical plants in any season in Michigan, which is pretty unheard of considering we have pretty harsh winters here. But it's stunning. It is full of plant life. It came with plant life when we bought the house, and we've incorporated our own as well. I have a small lemon tree. I'm growing figs. I'm so in love with this space, and it's just so special to us. Now let me walk you into our sunroom. So welcome to our sunroom. Got a little step down here. This was actually an addition to the house. So this was put in the late 40s, early 50s. Actually, an article was written about this room specifically in the Detroit Free Press because it was the first of its time. These tiles are heated, and so that is how this room stays warm. We've got a full thermostat that just controls it, and it's honestly just such a special space. So in addition to the heated tiles, this room has an entire, I would say about 4 to 5 feet of in-ground plant beds, meaning I can plant things literally into our ground inside the house. It's just the coolest space. I love plants. In our last house, we had a sunroom, just a traditional room with lots of windows and lots of light. And so when we saw this was one of those moments where I said, okay, this house is for me because there's a space where I can put my plants and they're going to thrive. And wanting to make this space really green and lush, we added a few things. So first, we added a full wall mural of a just stunning mountain landscape. That was actually my husband's idea. That was one of those ideas that I said, hey, that's really good. Let's do that. And that just adds to the green space. And then we also painted the ceiling green as well. And that's something that was really special to me. It was just original pine, just white beadboard. And I wanted it to feel a lot more cozy, a lot more warm. And I wanted to play off of the green plants in the room. And then we've added just some kind of fun, funky things in this space. You'll notice a horse saddle behind me. I mentioned earlier, I had a horse growing up. I love equestrian. I wanted to be a professional, like, cowgirl at one point in my life. Didn't happen, but I like to pay homage to things like that. So this is one of my very trusty Facebook Marketplace finds. I love displaying it. It's just, again, one of those moments that feels special to me because that was my childhood, and really, really good decor. But other than that, this room is just full of plants. I find them everywhere. Some of these came with us from our move from Texas. A lot of them, though, I found at local nurseries and plant shops. And we've just added pieces that were unique and special to us. So these were secondhand club chairs from a place called the Detroit Club, which is a 100-year-old plus institution here in the Metroplex. And even items like our green sofa. Again, green is a neutral for me. And so putting more and more green in our house just felt right. And it felt especially right for this room. This is fairly new. This is from one of my favorite companies, Interior Define, and they make fully custom furniture, but just at affordable pricing. And so this is kind of our landing space for all things recreation, whether a football game is on, whether it's going to be a movie night or we're hosting an event, because hidden behind these doors is another TV. And what's really cool about this, so when this room was built, this used to be a wood burning oven. There's a full fireplace here that goes outside. They had burners, and the family that was here used to grow fruits and vegetables in the ground and then cook them here. And this was their kind of all-season room. And somewhere in the probably 60s or 70s, it got transitioned into just a TV space, but it's really unique and fun. And it's one of those things that is so special to this house and just interesting. And I'm a fan. We love it. I definitely deal with all the normal plant parent things, even though these plants are in the house. So things like pests they just come with the territory, and it's something I've known for several years now. I've battled with several years now. That's kind of one of the beauty of having all of the live plants in one space. It's kind of contained. But yeah, I struggle. The in-ground beds, weeds grow here. I literally pick weeds in this room. It's kind of hilarious, but just such an interesting and unique space. So the light above the dining table is a reproduction of a Tiffany-inspired chandelier. It has interesting grapes and just beautiful tones, greens, of course. This was a Facebook Marketplace find. Again, it's just like my go-to, and it was so affordable. I think the owner gave it to me for $20, and I just couldn't say no. And I just think it's such a beautiful addition to this space. It looks like it would have already been here. And that's what I love doing in our house, is finding pieces that feel like they were here from the beginning. And it's not, odd or different, but it just feels right in the space. Something else that kind of felt right in the space is our antique armoire. We actually purchased this from the previous owner. This used to be their TV wardrobe in the main living room, and we thought it was such a beautiful piece and we wanted it for ourselves, but something that we repurposed and also hid something interesting in. This is my husband's liquor cabinet. So this is one of the reasons why we usually host parties in this room. He's a huge collector of whiskeys and tequilas, and we just thought this cabinet was the perfect place to display them. And it's just such a fun talking point, and it's always hilarious when we open this up and people are very surprised. I am a tequila gal. My go-to cocktail is actually margarita. I pride myself on making a delicious margarita, and that's probably from my Texas roots. It's just ingrained in me. Tequila Ocho is my absolute favorite tequila, and so we always keep that on deck. But my husband is a big whiskey drinker. He's a classic whiskey with a rock and just very simple man, but not so simple because he collects so many different whiskeys, and it's kind of insane how many different, brands and styles and flavors are out there. And so you'll notice there's a big collection of things here. His absolute favorite is called a Midwinter's Night Dram. It's incredibly hard to find and it's incredibly expensive. So when he can't find it, it's honestly really good on our pocketbook. So I do a few different things professionally. Full-time on my LinkedIn, I am an optometrist recruiter for a company called Warby Parker, and I've been with them for a little over 9 years and several different capacities, and have moved around with that company, different states and cities as well, and absolutely adore it. However, in the last 2 to 3 years, I've actually added virtual interior decorating to my resume. truly through my content creation. So I look at this house as my canvas, and I started sharing it regularly online in 2020. I started a blog, and I just wanted to share what my passion was, which was decorating my home. I grew up with a mom who decorated and redecorated our house all the time. She was an interior painter, and I find a lot of inspiration in the fact that you can just change your mind and change your space and get something new and fresh out of it. So I consider myself having three different careers: the recruiting, the interior decorating, and then also the content creation. Let me show you our dining room. Now, welcome to our dining room. It changes pretty significantly when you walk in here. It gets a lot darker, but this is just such a special space. So when we moved in, every room in the house was kind of a pale yellow. This room, however, I just envisioned color washed in green, and it turned out beautiful. But funny story, my painter very much thought it was going to be an awful idea. And pretty much everyone did. My husband was concerned, my in-laws, they said, "Are you sure you want an entire room of dark green?" And I said, just wait, guys. And it's just a dream. We did the same exact color top to bottom. So we did flat walls and ceiling with a high gloss trim, and that just made that wet plaster molding really pop. And I love the way it looks in this green tone. And then I paired them with monotone velvet curtains to give the room a bit of a royal feel, but also to just really dive into that green feeling. Everything in this room is special for some reason. I actually saw a picture of someone else's house where they had a easel with an antique piece of art, and I immediately said, I need to recreate that. And this was an estate sale find actually here on the island when we first moved in. It was a house just a couple streets over, and they had this stunning piece, and I had to have it. And something else that's actually really special is these metal boots. I got these at a store. They're about 25, maybe 30 pounds. And again, just kind of paying tribute to my Texas roots. And I love finding pieces like that. I love finding pieces that are just special and unique. You can definitely stub your toe on this thing. It's kind of a hazard, but they're beautiful, so we keep them. And these pieces of art, we actually purchased from the original owner. One of their very good friends who unfortunately had passed away sketched these. And these are all different spaces, churches here on the island. So kind of, again, paying that tribute to where we live and keeping it local if we can. Now, as far as furniture, really, again, I love mixing the new and old. This is a full West Elm set that we fell in love with. We actually had this table in our last house. It's mango wood. It feels right in here. It's good enough space for when we're hosting, but it's also, I like that it kind of adds a modern flair to this room that feels very old. You know, with the older chandelier. We have an antique curio cabinet that we also purchased from the previous owner. They had such amazing taste and such great pieces. And so we were really lucky that they were willing to pass some of those down to us. This piece is really, really special. A good friend of mine, Heather, she's an artist, and she very wonderfully gifted us this beautiful portrait of the front of her house. And it was something that this house is just so special to us. The way we found it, how we're here. I mean, I never felt more at home anywhere than I am in this house. So I wanted to make sure we had something to hold on to should we ever leave for any reason. So that is a really special piece to us. But overall, this room is just one of my favorite places to host. It's warm, it's cozy, it feels really elevated and elegant, but you feel like you can still be yourself here, which I love. And then lastly, one of my favorite pieces, this is a faux willow tree. I get so many questions about this. This is from a brand called Nearly Natural. As much as I love my real plants, not every room in this house gets great light. So I'm a big believer in faux. If you can't do real, go faux. Why not? So this tree was absolutely stunning, and they so graciously sent it to us, and it's just so perfect here. So when it's not Christmas and we don't have Christmas trees, our big willow is the star of the show. When burning candles and kind of having a scent here in our house, there's two scents that I consider pretty signature. Currently, because we're still kind of in winter, I'm still burning fir, like fir garland, because we're surrounded by all of these pine and oak and just fir trees. It feels kind of holiday still, but my signature scent is called Baltic Amber from Valespa. It is still a little holiday, it's a little sweet, it's a little vanilla, but it just is so calming. It's my absolute favorite season. I feel it's so much peace during it. So we're gonna burn the noble fir a little bit longer. So I'm gonna very carefully move this candle and I'm gonna show you the coolest chair ever. The chair was also a Facebook Marketplace find, and it serves a couple different purposes. So I'm 5'3", pretty short, and we've got some tall cabinets in our kitchen. I discovered this chair. It's called a library ladder chair, and it was intended for you to be able to climb up and get books off of tall library bookshelves. This converts into a ladder. And so I use this in our kitchen because there's cabinets I just can't reach. And I thought, what a great way to be able to have function, form and function in one, because I didn't want one of those little ugly step stools sitting in my kitchen. And this is so incredible. It's about 90 years old. I found it from someone here on the island that was selling it. And she was so excited I knew what it was and that it was gonna go to a good home. And it's such a fun conversation piece. Truly, one of the moments where you truly get form and function in one. It's so cool. I am a more is more type of host. I love having people in our house. I love welcoming them in and making them feel at home and feel like they're in a really elevated, elegant space, but also casual and just easy. So I actually host a once a month ladies wine night, and that is one of my favorite things. I invite all my girlfriends over. The table is full of charcuterie. Everyone brings a bottle of wine to share, so we're tasting anywhere between 8 and 10 different wines, and it's kind of an all-night event. It's so much fun. But outside of that, we love to host things like birthday parties. We'll host a holiday cocktail party, Super Bowl, really anything as an excuse to get people to our house, we will do it because we love wowing them with great food and great drinks. So this is an antique fireplace screen. It's actually a little bit too small for our fireplace, which is why it's not there, but this was my mom's and she graciously gifted it to us. She knew it would look great in our house, and so I absolutely took it. And this is a good example of kind of a unique piece of art. I love finding things that you can use to display in your home that are maybe not what it's intended to do. But for me, I mean, the brass picture here is just so stunning. It's really unique, and I love having it here. It's kind of random, but I love it. So our marble top bar cabinet here is something that was originally a contention point between my husband, because he had to drive 6 hours round trip to pick this up. Like I said, when you find something secondhand that's special, especially a deal, like I just can't say no. We got this for $100. It was when we were living in Texas, and it was 3 hours there and 3 hours there, 3 hours there and 3 hours back to pick it up. And it is just absolutely stunning. It's totally imperfect, which again is something I love about old homes and old things. They tell a story. And so this houses a lot of our bar tools, wine bottle openers, a few extra decor pieces that I don't have room for. But this is where what we use to display some of his favorite whiskeys, some antique bar glasses I found, this giant bust of David that I recently picked up about a month and a half ago. And it was just so unique and different. And I said, well, why not? You'll notice I actually have a lot of like statues and busts around the house. I just think they're such a beautiful piece of decor. Another thing that I am a big collector of is lamps. Our house doesn't get a ton of natural light, so lamp o'clock is very real here, and I will put a lamp anywhere there's an outlet. This lamp is a stunning vintage piece that I got for a steal, and I love pairing it with, again, secondhand shades. I actually, anytime I go to a thrift store and there are lampshades, I'll usually buy them and store them in our basement for the inevitable, which is when I bring a new lamp home. I would definitely say my personal style is very much collected. I'm a firm believer in bringing things into your home that are either special to you or that you just find special in general. I love mixing new and old, so antique and modern. I am a huge vintage and antique shopper. I love an estate sale, I love a thrift store, I love an antique mall. And what I love about items like that is they come with a story. it may not be yours, but it was someone else's. And I love that you can give an item like that a second, third, or fourth life. And so when people come into my home, they can expect a lot of unique, a lot of likely old things that come with some type of story. And some of them are my story, my husband's story, and then stories of people we don't know. But I think what I love about a collected style is it also makes you feel very cozy, very at home. And that was always my goal, is that when someone walked into my house, they immediately felt warm, they felt welcomed, and there were so many things around that draw their eye that they could inquire about. And I love talking about the things I bring into my home. So when it comes to interior decorating and how me and my husband work together, we actually work together really well. I would say I take about 90% of the role here. I do a lot of the sourcing myself, the decorating, kind of the planning, things of that sort. But he has a great eye, and I ask his opinion almost always. He'll even go sourcing with me to antique shops. He's usually the muscle to drag everything out of the store and get it into the house for me, which is absolutely necessary. But I'm really thankful that he has complete faith and trust in me. There's been several times where I've made decisions and he for sure thought it was gonna come out awful. And then I did it, and he apologized later. Next, let's go check out the breakfast nook. We joke that this is kind of like our own little diner. It's right off the kitchen, and this was original to the house. So this was actually part of the original blueprint. These benches and the table are bolted to the floor. We definitely have plans long-term to maybe restain it or cover it in fabric, because I want this to be really quaint and cozy. But I added the green curtains because we love green in this house, new lighting, and then, to no one's surprise, more equestrian inspired art. So I have saddles behind me here, horses here, and then from there we just added some cozy features like pillows, a few flowers. This lamp is actually really special. This is another Tiffany inspired lamp, but the previous owner made this. He made it originally for his sister, got it back, and they were just not planning on keeping it. So we asked when we purchased the house if we could purchase it along with it. And that's one of those really special pieces because it's part of who they were, and they were here for such a long time. So I love that we can respect that. But this is our nook. And so this is our kitchen. The kitchen was actually redone in 2015 after the house experienced a little bit of a flood. And they did a great job. They put really high quality cabinetry and counters in here. I definitely plan to put my own stamp on this. I have always had a dream of having green cabinets. It's gonna be a very green house. But one day we plan to update it ourselves. This area was really cute though. This is a little coffee bar. This is where we keep all of our specialty glasses, and this is where we start our day every morning. I actually even went as far to put special art sort of in here, and I had both my mom and my mother-in-law handwrite me and my husband's favorite recipes, and we framed them. And so that was really special. Like, again, I love adding pieces of your family members into your home, even if it's just a handwritten chicken and dumpling recipe. But as you go into the rest of the kitchen, it's a pretty good size for the house. Granite countertops. I try to add art wherever I can. So there's a giant antique painting over here that could feel out of place, but for me, it just feels just right. We actually have a lot of wildlife on the island. There are ducks and swans and Canadian geese everywhere. And there's a male and a female duck that tend to come on our property very often during the winter. My husband and I jokingly named them the Quacksteins. And so one of my friends who's an artist painted one of our Quacksteins for us. And so that's really special and fun. But we spend a lot of time in this space, specifically my husband, as he is the cook in the house. I spend a lot of time drinking wine and emotionally supporting him while he's cooking. But we're proud of it. Got a little bit of antique plates up here, and honestly, just such a beautiful bay window that looks out to our neighbor's property, but also to a few of the pine and fir trees in our property. I have definitely always loved interior decorating. I remember as a child, my mom giving me a lot of leeway of what I wanted my room to look like. At one point, it was purple and green walls with a floral border in the center and matching bedding and a matching rug. And then at one point, I wanted to completely change it. And she always gave me that freedom to say, okay, my style has changed. Let's adjust your space so it feels like you. And I think that really kind of kickstarted my thought process of design and decor, and just making your space feel like you is so important. And I love being able to do that in my space. And so it's been really fun to also kind of slowly help other people do that as well. I think what can really bring a home to life is being intentional about what items you're bringing into it. So for me, what gives my house a soul is bringing in items that are special to me, special to my husband's family, to my family. Even if you're bringing in something that has no connection to you, but it gives you joy, it excites you. I think that's what really can bring a home to life. It could be a piece of art on the wall. It could be a collection of antique books. It could be a plant. I'm really big on plant life in my house as well, not only for the oxygenation, but also it feels lively in here. And so I think it's subjective. You know, one of the things that I would say bothers me about the design and decor industry is that there's so many rules. And I think those rules are meant to be broken. I think you do what makes the most sense for you in your home. And if you follow your gut and what you feel is right, your house is going to be the best space for you, and it's going to feel like you, and it's going to come alive. Now, before we go upstairs, I want to give you a quick peek into our powder room. It's one of the few places that we actually did a DIY in this house when we moved in, and then I'll show you a little bit about the hallway. Follow me. So my husband and I joke that this is our Harry Potter bathroom because it's so tiny. And when we moved in, it was a little bit lifeless. It just had gray walls. It does have the original tile floors though, so we wanted to make it a little bit bolder while also trying to keep some of the original details to it. And when I say a little bit bolder, we went very bold. I'm always inspired when I go to great hotels or restaurants or museums and they have beautiful bathrooms. And so I wanted that for us. I wanted our guests to have a space that they were just wowed when they walked into. The wallpaper here is very bold, and surprise, it's green. We went with a striped, kind of striated pattern. This is from a company called Mind the Gap, which is UK based. I end up finding and loving things from the UK, and I feel like that just, again, pays homage to this home and kind of the style it was created in. So we went really bold with the wallpaper. We painted the trim and the ceiling high gloss black because we wanted it to feel moody and interesting, but somehow it still worked really well with these white and gray original tile floors. That was just something we didn't want to disturb. And so for me, it took a little bit of time to find patterns that would work well together, but they work really well. And also, we have some fun pieces of art in here. There's a piece of art of someone who we don't know who it is. I named him Francis, and I joke that he is the bathroom attendant. He creeps everybody out, and that's kind of the hilarious part of it, so he's not going anywhere. Now, I really want to show you this hallway because I don't consider myself a DIYer. I've done small projects. I'm not the gal that's going to be knocking down walls, but this is something I did myself. So these walls were, again, that kind of just soft yellow beige that the whole house was. We had them painted white, and then I stenciled this myself. I really wanted wallpaper, but all of our walls are thick, heavy plaster, and they're just not conducive to wallpaper in general. So I spent about 10 hours. I started one night at 5 p.m. and just went through the night stenciling this wall. And it was so much fun to complete that project, step back and say, I did that. But what's really special, in my opinion, is that it looks like it could have been here the entire time. It has that very vintage feel. It feels a little French country, which is, again, one of those fun things for me to like just introduce different styles into our home. And so I not only added the stencil, but then I added a few pieces of art as well. So I have these really stunning antique brass candle sconces. And then this is a maple leaf of a tree that fell on our front property. So shortly after we moved in, there was a 100-year-old tree out up front. It was so beautiful. It was, again, one of those many selling points for us, and unfortunately it fell in a storm. So after it had fallen, I went and I found the largest leaf I could, and we framed it as just a memory for what was. We do plan on replanting, which I'm very excited. That's going to happen this year. But I thought, what a special moment, and something that the previous owners could find special as well, because we actually have a really good relationship with them. Previous owners, they moved probably 5 streets away and actually pop by pretty often. So it's really special for me when I get to welcome them in the house and show them things that are memories of theirs. Now, let's go upstairs. Now this is our spare bedroom. This was a fairly recent project for me. This room was very green, lime green when we moved in. Child's lime green, to give you a visual. And I knew I wanted a space for when we had family or friends stay with us where they felt really cozy and comfortable. And so we originally painted it white, just give it a fresh slate. And then I very quickly realized I wanted something a little bit darker. And a friend of mine used this exact color in her living room, and I was so inspired. It's called Chestnut by Benjamin Moore, and it's in a matte, which you usually don't see in rooms. And it is just the most stunning and rich maroon. It's, depending on the time of day, it feels purple, it feels brown, and I just love the transition this color gives you. And so I wanted to incorporate pieces into this room that, again, that felt like they could have always been in this house. I wanted this room to feel a little bit older, very vintage. So this is just a brand new, just online metal bed that had some details to it that I felt were pretty timeless, and paired it with this just insanely stunning golden velvet bedspread. It is so luxurious and it's so fun. It's from West Elm, and I thought it paired perfectly with the color of these walls. And so we added a few special pieces, one being the portrait of our dog. Our dog's name is Kona. He's a Shiba Inu, and this is Colonel Kona. And we thought that that would just be fun and whimsical, but of course special to us. And then I added even more special pieces. So in my love of tapestries, I found this online, and the woman I purchased it from, she lived in Ohio, so just a state away, and she so graciously offered to ship it to me, and she gave me such a deal for it. It's so huge, and I feel like the colors pair perfectly with the color on the wall. And for this room, what I did is I picked the wall color first and then started adding in pieces from there. And what I love about that is that gave me my balance, my foundation for the space. We picked up an antique chest, also on Facebook Marketplace, and a good friend of mine actually went to an estate sale and snagged these lamps. And after seeing this room, she came to me and said, "These belong in here, so I'm gifting them to you," which I so appreciated. And so this room is just, it's special. It's different. I don't know anyone else that has a spare bedroom like this. And we added in just a few other fun details. This is a wooden duck from Josh's grandmother, and she gifted this to us. And this chair, actually, I was given this for free from the woman that sold us the chest. She had it in her garage and said, "Hey, this will look really, really good next to it if you want it." And so we took it, which was awesome. And what's really nice about this space too is, even though it's the spare, it has a balcony as well. And so our guests have access to outside. If the weather is nice, they can go sit on the patio and drink their coffee. So get some sunshine and outside of the really cozy, dark, kind of almost cave-like spare bedroom. When choosing this color, I knew that it was all or nothing with a color this rich and this vibrant and just kind of breathtaking. So I wanted to completely color drench this room. So I started with the walls, then went to the trim. Shortly after, I decided the doors needed to be the same color as well. And then lastly, the ceiling, which was the worst and the hardest. But it really just made it. I think, honestly, very similar to our dining room where I did color drenched green and then paired it with matching curtains. I did the same here as well. So I found a very similar rich maroon wine colored velvet curtain. And I think it really just, it makes this room. It really makes it pop. And I love that everyone that walks in here legitimately says, "Wow, that feels really good for me." The word home to me really just means comfort. It means peace. I've always thought of home as your safe space, the place where you could just truly be yourself. You could let all your guards down and you had everything surrounding you that made you feel the most you. And so for me, filling a house with special items, making it in warm, soft color palettes, and just being a place where I can welcome anyone in and they get that same feeling is the best thing.
On today's episode of Homeworthy, we're visiting Pleasant Ridge, Michigan to explore the beautiful home and gardens of Brad Stanwyck and Matt Anstedt. As the founder of the Parsons Nose Antiques, Brad's passion for art history, which he studied in college, and his love for antique English furnishings have shaped their home's unique style. This passion allowed Brad to leave the corporate world and follow his dream full-time. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hey Homeworthy, I'm Brad.
And I'm Matt. Welcome to our home in Pleasant Ridge, Michigan. We'd love to show you around.
Hi, my name's Brad Stanwyck, and I own the Parsons Nose Antiques, which is an English antique importer.
And I'm Matt Anstedt. I was a research scientist for about 30 years until I recently joined Brad to help him with the antique business.
So we're in Pleasant Ridge, Michigan, which is a really small city just north of Detroit, and our house is a California bungalow. And when was it built?
It was built in 1912. We did a bunch of research and found actually an article in the Detroit Free Press from 1912 showing the house selling for about $5,000. And this was sort of a community of to get away from the city, so it was a lot of cottages, and really this was the country. We're about 15 miles from Detroit.
I would describe our style as sort of really antique. We have a lot of period oak, antique mahogany, some pine, all English. We did this renovation, I think, how many years ago now?
Oh God, maybe
Probably
15.
5 years ago. We bought the house in 2003, but one of the first things we did was the backyard, which we'll see shortly. But we're really excited to do this kitchen renovation. This hearth room here was not actually here. It was a sliding glass door outside. So this, even though it hopefully looks like it's been here for a while, this is a brand new room with a brand new fireplace. We put in a full wood burning fireplace, which was really important to us. And then we have the wood storage underneath there as well.
And a lot of the windows you see here were all made in on an old machine instrument in Missouri by the Weston Millworks. They did all the old glass, individual panes to match the original windows. And this kitchen, it was sort of like a Brady Bunch kitchen when we bought it. It was not really done very well, and you had the avocado ovens, and we lived with that for quite a while till we were able to do this renovation. And we love to cook and entertain.
Yeah, we wanted a space to be able to sit and relax, and this is where we have our coffees, usually in the morning, with our dogs, and we're able to kind of look outside and see the garden, which is really nice, and kind of get cozy by the fire. Of course, we've been waiting to announce the dog names. This is Clementine.
This is Miss Eleanor.
And they're Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. So really everything you see in the hearth room is from us, the Parsons Nose. The chandelier is a German chandelier, Black Forest. This dining table is English, pine, and it expands. So we can set a few more people around it if we need to. These are old Windsor chairs from England that are surprisingly comfortable, and we do tend to use and abuse them, and we really love them. The paintings, you may notice a theme of horse paintings. I've been told that I've cornered the market on them, but we love the look. Also, We're really interested in Chinese porcelains as well, so you'll see those all over the house. As far as inspiration goes, for me, I've always been sort of an Anglophile. My background's in art history with a minor in decorative arts. It sort of has been a natural thing for me to start doing, importing. I was in the IT world for about, 23 years, which was great. But in 2019, I was able to leave the IT world and start doing the Parsons Nose full time. This is a little, what I call a Lake District table, and it's one leaf, opens up, just when you need a little bit of extra room. It's old oak, so you'll see that as a theme kind of throughout the house. So these I purchased in England at an auction house in the countryside, and we really try to light all of our artwork because it adds so much to the room. And then that's a little duck head that's actually from Denmark. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of the kitchen. It was really important for us to have a good size island. It was intended to look like it was built from old pine, and this is Carrara marble on top, which definitely gets etched, but we sort of like that patina, and we love using the kitchen. So you'll notice the range and the cupboards over there that there's scratches and dents and dings, but we do a lot of entertaining and a lot of cooking. So.
Now, when we first had it installed, we were worried about little scratches and chips and things like that, but over time, our friends and family came and destroyed everything, so, and we did too. It's the best kitchen for us, and we really love it. We went from having kind of the worst kitchen to having our dream kitchen. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one of the funny things about the kitchen is there's no upper cabinets. What we did instead was over one of these pine dressers, where we keep all of our dishes and bowls. So we really don't have any uppers, and we use this every day. And when the dishwasher is done running, we put all the dishes, and then when we serve, we grab them all. But it's really handy, and we really love it. And it's sort of enabled, I think, a different look than when you have uppers. We also did these copper pots here, which yes, we do use. Maybe not as often as we use the stainless steel, but we definitely use them. And some of them are rather old. They have really beautiful iron handles. We love the warm look of them and have enjoyed collecting them.
And polishing. We also had a lot of the hardware here you see for the shelf and the hanging made by local craftsmen. So we often find people that are local that can do some unique things like this, and also we had some of these things like this push button gangplank here done by our the same craftsman, and he stamped out the different areas that these push buttons, which we put in, light up. This kind of came from inspiration from, we tour a lot of the local mansions, the Ford homes. So these large Tudor homes that Edsel Ford and Henry Ford had built back in the day. And one of the things we saw in one of the houses was this really long push button light switch panel. So we kind of took inspiration from that and some of the other designers.
We worked with designer John Rattray. He owns Craig Hall Interiors. And so while, we sourced really all of the antiques, and we sourced, all of those types of things, John did a number of things for us around space planning, electrical plans, style of the light fixtures, the plan for what the tile would look like. For example, we're not particularly good with fabric, I have to say, but John's brilliant, and he chose anything that you see that's fabric. And here he chose really all the paint colors as well.
And a lot of detail on the space planning to optimize the square footage that we have. It's about a 2,800 square foot house. So this is just the way it was laid out. The way he laid this out really is an open kitchen space, which is great.
And I think that's one of the things that you forget that you need is space planning. So, I'm kind of a furniture guy, if you can tell. And so I just kind of want to cram furniture everywhere. But John really sort of restrained me and made sure that we were doing the right thing with the space and in really the right look. So kudos to John, and really we couldn't have done it without him.
Now we'd love to show you the dining room. And on the way, you can see the bar that we installed with the beer taps. I did a lot of engineering to have a full-size fridge, bar fridge in the basement, and lines that come up to these two taps. Of course, they're empty because it can be very dangerous to have any kegs of beer on hand for very long.
And one of the other things we did was we put a second dishwasher in here, which really has saved our lives many times, especially during a party. So I think one of the things that I would definitely suggest doing would be having 2 dishwashers. So you can see it's kind of right here. John did a really good job, and there's some dishes in there. But John did a really good job planning the look of the kitchen.
The fridge.
And there's the fridge, yeah.
Bar fridge.
So come on into the dining room next.
So when we bought the house, this room was actually wallpapered in paisley.
It was a Waverly, an old Waverly paisley print.
And there was no paneling, and these beams up here were all painted white. So we spent some painstaking time scraping and sanding and staining the box beams. And when we took the wallpaper out, we found a pattern underneath on the plaster of paneling that had been here at one point. So we had our carpenter match the form and create a paneled room, basically restoring what was here originally.
You'll see a lot of portrait paintings, and they're definitely members of our family, right, Matt? This table is one that we brought over from England, and it's really an old oak farmhouse table. It's a little cupped, so when we're sitting in it goes a little bit higher. The plates are a little bit higher than maybe you'd like, but it's super charming, and it's exactly the right size for here. So we just really love this table. This is a really old sideboard here. It's got 2 large Chinese vases on. This one was actually completely rebuilt because when it came from the Netherlands, it was shattered. So we had our restorer put that back together. Actually, John from Craig Hall did this arrangement of Old English pewter plates. If you go to England, a lot of the country houses have pewter plates like this, and so we took some inspiration from there. This is a California Impressionist painting. It's pretty moody, but we really love it because it's got such great greens, and green's a big color that we both really love. And again, we have it lit because every painting looks better when it's lit.
Another interesting thing about this, the chairs around this table is these were all slightly different because they were originally made for members of a family. So depending on their size, they had the chairs built to match.
So that you'll see that there's sort of some shorter and some wider than others. When we first walked in, we had to look beyond really years and years of sort of upgrades, right? So 1970s, 1960s upgrades. So there were a lot of louver paneled doors. There was a drop ceiling. There were
painted wood.
All the wood was painted. A lot of mauve carpet. But you know, we walked into this house and we actually really loved it. As soon as we walked in, and I guess we've always had the problem of having some vision around homes. So we absolutely loved it. We felt right at home right away, and we were super excited to get the house.
It had a really warm feeling to it, and you know, for as old as the house is, it had a very modern feel as well in terms of the openness. The only problem was we were a little bit nervous about all the work that we were going to have to do to get it up to snuff.
And we're still doing it.
Yeah, I think our carpenter came through and he said, I'm going to be working for the rest of my life on this house.
Until he retires, which maybe he's close to doing, we'll see.
Yeah. I think what we tried to do is to kind of bring it back to where it was, so like the paneling that was put back in and stripping the wood and staining it, trying to give it that original look, get rid of anything that was vinyl or aluminum or plastic, you know, 60s, 70s stuff. And get rid of all that and kind of bring it back to more of a natural look.
Well, it's an arts and crafts house, right? So it's a bungalow, and maybe the natural thing to do would have been to do arts and crafts, but obviously that's not really me. My interest is in English antiques, so it really kind of obviously fits well together. Okay, we'd love to show you the primary bedroom, so follow us. Okay, so this is our primary bedroom. When we bought the house, this was one of the pink rooms with the pink carpet, I think.
And pink walls, and it had painted light green wood.
So we
Pink and green.
Yeah, so we
90s.
made some pretty big changes throughout here, but you know, one of the things that I love is sort of this collection of antique Chinese blue and white porcelain, which is something that I'm very interested in right now. And then this bed is pretty interesting, right? Because we had it made in England, so it looks antique. It's made out of oak, and we actually had sent this bowl and said that we really wanted this bed to be this color. So the guys over in England, I think, did a great job matching it, and we're super pleased with it.
I just want the Scrooge curtains for this, but
Yeah, so this is an old English court cupboard made out of oak, and on top I've got Chinese blue and white porcelain that I've been collecting for a few years now. You can see different sizes of vases. This one is a particularly old one. It's an old cash po. And I just love the quality of the porcelain, and the look of the blue and white I think is just beautiful. We love the different horns and antlers from deer. It sort of follows along a really distinct culture around hunting in England, and they decorate a lot of their homes with the antlers, and so we've done the same thing.
yeah, when we go to England, we go to some of these manor homes like Haddon Hall, which is very much was a hunting lodge at one point in its history, and so very wood oak and antlers, and very cool.
So we go to England about once or twice a year, and really we kind of head to the north of England, and one of our favorite things to do is to visit the country houses. So places like Chatsworth, Haddon Hall that Matt had mentioned earlier, and we love going through the houses. We love seeing the kitchens in particular, I think. But also get inspired by all of the furniture that's so beautiful and all over the place in all those houses.
And they also have a lot of gardens, and of course the history of the whole country. And then we've made friends there, so we do visit with them and tour around and do some of the pubs.
These are English oak chairs that we brought over from England, and John chose the fabric on the chairs, and it's sort of another neutral that kind of blends in well with everything in the house, I think, the walls, and also these beautiful velvet curtains that John chose as well. So this is some more example of us working with a designer and probably never being able to make that decision, at least either one of us. Actually, this is our Japanese maple that you'll see shortly from around our patio and back. And so these are just some branches from it that we brought in and put in a blue and white antique Chinese porcelain vase. I should point out something kind of funny about this tall boy is we sort of have lost the screw that goes on that, so we're working on trying to find that. But also, we're kind of okay with some of the quirkiness of furniture and age and things that happen to it over time, because it just sort of makes it real and gives it a sense of history. We sort of like to see that every once in a while. You'll also see lots of marks or rings or maybe chunks of wood missing. And to us, that's all part of the process of owning antiques and part of the history of each piece.
Home, I guess, is some place where you feel safe, secure, and comfortable, and it has a warm feeling, and it's a place you always want to return to when you're out traveling. It's a cozy place, I guess.
It's also a sanctuary, right? It's a place to kind of unwind and to really surround yourself with the memories and some of the things that you appreciate. So let's go into the primary bathroom. Why don't you follow me? So on the way to the bathroom, we have this little, and also another chance for some art and furniture.
This was the study, which was just filled with a lot of Brad's things, collections, and we eventually were able to put in a master bath. And some of the features, we have two different vanities here. This stone here is Nero Portero marble, which our designer found. You see it in a lot of old buildings in Detroit, really a pretty unique marble. Brad also found a table that we had cut in half and those two halves serve as the base for both vanity. I don't know how old is the table?
They're old, like 18th century English oak. It was a single table that we had cut in half, like Matt said. There was no top left, so that sort of was an okay sign for me to actually cut them in half, because it would be very painful for me to cut something that was in good shape in half. So so that was sort of a perfect thing to do. I should say also, John, our designer, really pushed to make this our primary bath from the study. And I was very resistant at first because I didn't want to lose a place for more furniture, my books, more art. But honestly, he said that you'll use this more than any other room in the house, and he was absolutely right about this. So I'm so pleased that we did this. And really, he perfectly centered the shower so that you can look out the window into the garden. And it's really a beautiful view in the morning. We absolutely love it. I think one of the most beautiful things about this bathroom is the wall paneling, and John designed the placement of every single panel in here. The color is really beautiful. It's Benjamin Moore ancient ivory. And so we really painted everything. The primary closet is that color as well. John also laid out the floor. This is really just your typical landscape outdoor bluestone. But it makes a really beautiful, very durable floor. It's heated, so in the wintertime it's really cozy in here. The other thing that we did was we used some actual picture frame to go around this mirror, which is medicine cabinet, and that was a really fun thing to pick out. There's also a picture light above the medicine cabinets, which really give a nice soft glow and kind of just the perfect down light. So I think you always think you look great. We kind of went back and forth over what we wanted to do with this shower, but ended up really deciding to just do marble throughout. There's some nice cubbies in there. The floor is heated in the shower as well, which really helps to dry it. And when you're stepping on it, it actually is never cold, which is kind of nice too. There's also another sort of gang of switches here in unlacquered brass that we had made, and they're listed, and maybe you can't see it that well, but John's very big on electrical plans, which I never really thought about until we were doing this renovation. But he's got dimmers in all the right places. When you leave a room, you can actually turn off anything that you didn't turn off when you were in the room, which I think is a great feature.
And the heated towel.
Yeah, the heated towel bar we had here, which is unlacquered brass, which at the time was impossible to find. It's not so much about having a warm towel to dry yourself, but it also just dries the towel quicker, so they actually stay fresher over time, which I think is a really cool thing.
Now we'd love to show you our patio. Follow us.
So now we'll take you on a tour of our garden. I think probably the first and one of the things we're excited to show is actually this climbing rose on the back of the house. It's called John Davis, and it's an English, your typical English rose. It's absolutely covered in flowers when it blooms. It only blooms once though, which is sort of the downside, but it's very worth it to us because the spring show is so spectacular. So then over here is our pond. So when I talk about the value that John brought to the design of the back, is we were thinking something much smaller, but he really wanted to do this 16-foot long pond. It's 4 feet deep on one end and 3 feet on the other. So the fish do stay out all winter long, and they just sort of hang out. There's probably about 15 fish. And there's a few really large ones, about 2 feet long. We've named those fish
Milo.
That's the orange and white one, and then Jefferson is orange and white and black, and he's big too. And then this is one of our perennial borders that originally we had a hydrangea back here, and we did that as per our plan. But then Matt and I are really more kind of plantsmen, so we love the individual plants and we love really all plants. So we took out the hydrangea and put in a perennial bed here, which we've been weeding and tending to for a number of years now.
One of the things about the pond, we actually did all the engineering and design of the water flow, which goes out that end and into the basement to a commercial filtration system, a bubble bead filter that Brad did some research on. And then the water then comes back through this end. So it keeps a continuous movement and filtration and healthy water quality.
You'll notice there's 3 pink roses in here. We saw them at the nursery, and our favorite nursery is Telly's in Troy. And there wasn't a name for them, so we went ahead and bought them anyhow because they had such a beautiful pink flower on them. And we call it the Matty Rose after Matt because he was the one who actually picked it out. And it's proven to be absolutely beautiful and blooms tremendously kind of all summer long, and I really wish I knew the name of it. So if anyone out there knows it, I'd love to.
I like the name. So one of the things we did was plant a lot of boxwood, as you can see. I don't know, there's probably hundreds of them here. They were very, very tiny when we bought them. Now they've grown, and we also planted these Alaskan weeping cedars, which have gotten really, really big. We did clear a lot of kind of the brush that was here and put in a lot of the stuff ourselves.
The view that we wanted, though, from the bedroom was really out at these Alaskan weeping cedars because they just have such a sort of romantic look to them. We planted a lot of peonies. This is about the only one that is still blooming, so it's kind of time for us to take all the old peonies out and put something in that'll be a little bit happier. So this is a big olive oil pot that we actually just put in here about a week ago. We were looking for sort of just the right thing that was just the right size and came across this in England, so I'm super excited to have it here. I think it adds a lot to really the end of the pond, which, you know, it's important when you're gardening and when you're designing landscape to have focal points and a place to go to, and we've tried to do that here. We've made this also into a perennial border where we sort of put in peonies, roses, there's garden phlox, there's asters, and then also some sort of natural native plants across the back, including Joe Pye and cup flower. But we punctuated the beds with these viridis yews, which are these upright yews that grow kind of in this very beautiful sculptural shape. One of the other things that we love is nature. We love backyard birds, and one of the best things to do to bring birds in, to put in bird baths, because water is super important to the birds. We also sort of did a little copper pipe off one of our drip hoses, so when that zone runs, it also fills the bird bath up. So that helps kind of keep it filled. We also, to avoid mosquitoes, we have these little all-natural mosquito bio thingies. We put this yew hedge in to kind of stop the view, but also to have a background of green in order to show off our geraniums. And then we had a little opening spot made so that we can put so this is a little bit of sort of a secret area where we've got ferns and trillium. We planted hemlock really early on in the work here. And so it's a very green and very cool space that we really love.
Yeah, we've tried to plant some Japanese ferns, and also these are trillium, which is a Michigan wildflower that grows up in the woods in Michigan. So we put a bunch of them under here to see if we can get them.
To sort of continue on with the yew hedge, we are letting this section on each side grow so we can do an archway, sort of a living archway over each entryway here and on that. So this is our patio. So this is where we do a lot of our summer entertaining and have cookouts. These are Japanese maple trees that are the ones that we cut some to go into that vase in the primary bedroom. And these are really, they grow like weeds. So we're constantly having to prune them, but they have a really open, airy, and beautiful feel to them. And they're really the right choice, I think, for our patio. We absolutely love them. And they turn a really great orange in
beautiful color
in the
fall.
Autumn time. Yeah. So that's sort of an added bonus.
Yeah. This is my bell. Oh.
So this is a restoration hardware table that I don't think is made anymore, but it has, it's teak and it's got a Chippendale fretwork back. John, our designer, really pushed for us to grab it when we saw it because he, for some reason, knew that it was going to stop being made, and it's really the perfect set for out here.
And one thing I started to collect are these citrus trees. These are bear's lime. A friend of mine in California had them growing crazy, so I had to go online and find them and see if I could grow them here in Michigan. They've been in our sunroom over the winter, and we got some limes for gin and tonic.
All right, this has been a lot of fun, but it's actually time to go to work. So why don't we head over to the Parsons Nose warehouse. Welcome to the Parsons Nose Antiques. This is our warehouse, and I'd like to take you on a tour. And this is our big warehouse that we unload the containers because we bring everything over from England in 20-foot or 40-foot containers, and we do about 10 a year. We don't have a retail shop yet, so everything we sell online through Instagram. We're quite active on Instagram, and we have a great website. So let's take this tour. So you'll notice a lot of furniture in rows and different configurations. We have this section over here where items that we've sold are leaving to go to different parts of the country. So once something gets photographed and is online and sells, we move it into here, waiting for our teams. This is one of my favorite pieces we have right now. It's a bow front chest of drawers. It's made out of mahogany, and it's unusual because it's pretty big. It's got really nice black handles, big generous drawers, which is always nice, bone escutcheons, and a kind of a really cool shaped apron down in the front. I've always been a collector of antiques, of furniture, of paintings, and I got started because I'm such an Anglophile, and I wanted to start importing English antiques and making them available to everybody in general. But the thing that I knew I wanted to do was to do it all online. So we go over to England about 2-3 times a year and source all of these amazing pieces that we bring back, and we're really excited about where the business is going. I've said that we don't have a shop yet, but we are planning on opening a shop in Charlevoix, Michigan sometime this summer. So this big piece on the wall is a French barrel back housekeeper's cupboard. So it's, I don't know, probably 9 feet tall, but I really love it. It's got a really beautiful color pine. And let's see if we can get the doors open. It's always a little dangerous, never knowing exactly what's in there. But I think it's a pretty impressive piece. I really like that. And also these rhubarb forcers, which are pretty interesting because what you do is you place it over the rhubarb as it's starting to grow, and the plant reaches for the light, and in the meantime creates very long and somewhat pale stalks that have more flavor and are really more tender and easier to cook with. So rhubarb forcers. So one of my other favorite pieces is this painted blue pine linen press. It's got, let's see if I can get it open, shelves up on the top, which are really useful, and then drawers, a little loose, but drawers on the bottom half. So, and I think the color is just really, really cool. It's kind of like a, I don't know, really light blue, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say robin's egg, but not quite.
And some of the other detail, I mean, the grain on these knobs and then this inlay, you just don't get that on newer pieces of furniture.
Another piece I think is pretty cool is this ebonized pine English chest of drawers. I just love the color. I think it's kind of, black's kind of a neutral, right, sometimes, and it's got beautiful wear. And it's just a really useful piece of furniture. We sell a lot of chest of drawers. This one probably not so much for a changing table, but we do sell a lot of them for changing tables for nurseries. So it's always a good piece to have. So this is a different warehouse. It's the first warehouse we got. Actually, the warehouse that we were just in, or the warehouse next door, is our second warehouse. But this one has a few special things about it. It's got our photograph wall. So this is the wall that we take all of our photographs against, as well as the rug. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably be very familiar, very comfortable with what you're seeing here. But you know, we only usually show enough to show off the piece of furniture, but you get to see everything kind of behind the scenes here. So this is what we call Welsh dresser. Usually Americans call a chest of drawers a dresser, but in England they don't. They call this piece of furniture a dresser. And it was intended to be in your kitchen or maybe in your cottage dining room. And if you remember our kitchen, we have one as well. But it holds a ton of plates, a ton of mugs, and anything else you might need. And I love this one because of the color. It's a really pretty sort of bleached pine almost, although it's not been bleached. It's really light. And then I'm just a sucker for these big chunky knobs on all the furniture. I just love it. This is the workshop area that we repair anything that maybe had a little trouble coming over the pond from England. Really everything gets waxed, maybe touched up a little bit with paint perhaps, but this is really an important part of really being an antique dealer, because you're also a furniture repairman. That's just kind of how it is. All right, so this is my actual office, and if you follow me on Instagram, this is often where I'm sitting posting or creating the reels and trying to do something interesting for both you and me. But I love this office because it's filled with pine, and my house is all dark oak, so it's a nice change. This French birdcage against the wall here, I really love, and it's got just a great look to it. And also I love this pine cabinet, which I put a lot of my books in, and some antiques and other pieces. And then this is kind of my messy desk where I sit and spend a lot of my time.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.